years, the term Blitz spirit has been criticized as a propaganda tool that undermined the psychological trauma many families suffered during the bombings, in favor of servicing the government narrative that the British resolve could not be broken. No doubt there is some truth in this, but as many people who lived through those extraordinary times will attest, without any guarantee of a future existing beyond that evening, they still had a choice in how to react to their current set of circumstances, no matter how horrific they were. Perhaps the British spirit could be defined as displaying this attitude, whether that's singing Roll Out the Barrel in the underground during an air raid, or knitting clothes out of dog hair for evacuated children. As many of the people in this audiobook prove, we have some choice in how we react to any challenging circumstances we find ourselves in. We can make a difference, however large or small, through personal or collective action. However, there are problematic issues surrounding the British spirit that we continue to grapple with. Ever since the Huguenots fled to Britain from France in the 17th century, the country has enjoyed a reputation as a safe haven for people fleeing persecution and tyranny. In turn, over the centuries, Britain has benefited greatly from the variety of skills, trade and culture each new wave of immigration has brought. But it's not surprising that the extent of Britain's tolerance was brought into question, especially in the years that followed World War II. In 1948, Caribbean migrants from the West Indies began to arrive to help rebuild post-war Britain. The majority were former service personnel who'd fought in World War II and were granted citizenship under the British Nationality Act of 1948. But for many of these migrants, who continued to arrive throughout the 1950s and 60s, the welcome they received in Britain's largest cities was about as warm as the accommodation they were afforded by local authorities. Signs stating "No Irish, no blacks, no dogs" decried Britain's reputation for humanity, tolerance and fairness. Activist and campaigner Paul Stephenson was born in Britain and served in the RAF in the 1950s. In 1963, he led the Bristol boycott, which helped pave the way for the first piece of legislation in Britain to prohibit racial discrimination. He is just one of the campaigners featured who fought and continue to fight for change in our society. In the process, they also continue to push the parameters of what it means to be British, while championing a British spirit that no one is excluded from and that we're all proud to be a part of. Many of the people featured in this audiobook chose to do extraordinary things in extraordinary circumstances and for no personal gain. No one forced Edith Cavell to risk her life smuggling British and Belgian troops out of enemy territory in Belgium during World War I. No one coerced Nicholas Winton into wrestling with bureaucracy at the Home Office to secure the safe passage of over 600 Jewish children from Nazi-occupied Czechoslovakia to the UK. They could have simply looked the other way and chosen to do nothing, and no one would ever have reproached them for it. But they, along with many other people in this book, chose to act, often for no greater reason than they believed it was the right thing to do. Some of them helped people affected by injustice or inequality in society, whether it was happening hundreds of miles away from them or on their own doorstep. From the founder of Save the Children, Eglantine Jebb, who was committed to alleviating the suffering of all children, regardless of their nationality, to Max Levitas, who campaigned for decent air raid shelter provisions in the East End during World War II. Some faced ridicule or the destruction of their career for daring to go against the grain, as in the case of Manchester's medical officer, Dr. Niven, whose radical proposal to shut down schools and public buildings to reduce the spread of Spanish flu defied medical advice of the day. Many opposed him, but Niven's refusal to back down or discard his beliefs saved the lives of hundreds of thousands of Mancunians. Others refused to let ignorance or fear halt progress, or keep certain taboo subjects shrouded in secrecy or shame. Duncan Guthrie was determined to find a way to fund research that would help find a cure for polio.